Hello and welcome to PoE for Dummies filters, especially filters from Filterblade. These are made from Neversink and his crew. They are doing an amazing work for Path of Exile community. They are helping all of us basically to make these things happen, to make it as easy as possible for us to configure how we see items in Path of Exile. But of course, we all need a little bit of extra help to understand how to make a filter, why they're useful, and so on. So first things first, you're going to navigate to the website filterblade.xyz. After you navigate there, you will be prompted with login to your Path of Exile account, which you can do so in the top right corner. As you can see, I am already logged in. Nothing to worry about. This connects to your PoE account. That's completely fine. You can log out, or you can even use the service logged out. Now, I would suggest logging in, as that is very important, as I will see you later for the sake of, as us content creators go, we can share our filters with the community as well. But here's how the intro is going to look like. The first page you're going to see here, you will see currently it's the Settlers League. You will see 325 update is live, and you will get a prompt to create a new filter. Below this prompt, you will have filters that have already been created. These ones are created by me. I will go over them at the end later on, but first we want to create a new filter. You want to click Create New Filter, and you will be prompted with this screen. This may look daunting once you start scrolling down. Nothing to worry about. Do not worry about it for now. Currently, you want to worry about a few things, which is, do you use it for softcore, hardcore, stable version, or do you use it for ruthless? All of these are going to be a separate thing. However, I will only cover softcore, as that has the most players that have been playing the game, and my community is also playing on softcore, so that is going to be the thing. Next thing is what we're going to look at is strictness, how much the filter hides. If we go with soft filter and you mouse over it, super low strictness shows way too much, recommended as a customization starter. Now, what do these strictnesses mean? As he said, how much the filter hides. If we have soft, if you scroll down, this will show you the overview of items and how they are going to look like. We'll go over styles and modules later. So you can see what each and every single item is and how it's going to look like, and the way it's going to be shown. So this is basically just no filter. This is just hiding some very, very minuscule things for like vendor recipes that nobody uses. And that's basically it. So it hides just a few items. Those are always going to be crossed out. And that's it. So we can go back up, and we can look at, as an example, all the way to the end, Uber plus Strict, which is endgame farming, T14 plus maps only, Chaos Pure currency only, designed for hard juice gameplay. This hides common currencies and things. So as an example, hides common currencies here, mid-tier currencies, shows only rare currencies, top valued items, leveling currencies it doesn't show, shows like most very good uniques, but most low uniques it doesn't show, and so on. So you want to adjust as you go. Now, how do we get all these filters to work, and how do we get them to show us what we want? The best way, the beginner way that I would recommend, is going to export to PoE right this instant without doing anything else. So you click on Overview, you see what it does, you click Neversink Softcore, you click on Export to PoE, you can add filter name, all filters, as an example. You have PC, Xbox, PlayStation option, and then you click Sync or Download, and then you have Save and Sync. This saves and syncs with your Path of Exile account, and you can create it as a new sync, or you can click Save and Download. This downloads the filter that is selected here, semi-strict, Neversink Softcore, semi-strict, and then export it there. Or you want to do the best option for beginners there is, get all strictnesses as zip or individual files. It doesn't matter. Let's say we want to do it as a zip file. So click on Get All Strictnesses, and that will generate the filter, save, generate the filter, and do its own thing. It will do every single filter that Neversink has as a beginner in its own form. It will package it up as a zip file, and you can download it here and you get it for all filters. So that's what you do. Then you take these all filter zip from your downloads folder, wherever that is, you open them up, you take all of them. So you can see soft, regular, semi-strict, and so on, the same way as it shows here. So you have nothing to do as a beginner. Then you want to navigate to your documents folder, and you want to go to My Games, Path of Exile, and this is where you will place these filters. So you will take them all, drag them or extract them or copy them into this folder. And your filters are now almost done. What does that mean? That means when you go to your game and when you open up the game, you go Escape, Options, you go to Game, and you have an item filter. It will load all the filters that you have in the folder that is the Path of Exile games folder. In this folder, they will all be loaded here with a few exceptions of these like teal colored ones. These are from your Path of Exile account. So those are also the things. So if you sync to your account, you will show them here. You do not need to download anything, so you can use them as an account. I think this is the best way to do for consoles. I'm not sure, I'm playing on PC, but if somebody has any console input, feel free to post it down in the description below. So as an example, this is a tier 15 map that I'm doing. This is without a filter. This is how a map looks without a filter at the end game, just like the final boss room. This is basically how it looks. It's filled with garbage. But now let's apply some filters. Let's go with soft filter. This is the soft filter for Neversink, and these are the items that it shows. There is a general rule. Rule is, the more items you see in the world, you need to make the filter strict, because we have 6 portals, not counting deaths, not counting trades that we go out of. So we have 6 portals, and the more loot you see, the more junk you need to filter through. So you generally do not want to see a lot of loot. So we have soft here. We have regular, which hides a few things here and there. We go to semi-strict, which hides even more items. We go to strict, and then more items are gone. We go to very strict, and look, even more are gone. Uber strict, and at the end we go uber plus strict, which basically hides almost everything. Besides like the gold that is dropping, and besides some items that we have here. So as an example, you can hide some very interesting items on the filter, however you would like it. So that's basically the function of the filters. I do suggest for beginners, you go soft and regular while you are doing the campaign, semi-strict, strict while you're doing tier 1 to tier 6, 7 maps, very strict while you are doing yellows, higher tier yellows and reds, and you can go uber strict in tier 14 plus. I wouldn't go uber plus strict. I would learn how to adapt and adjust the uber strict filter. Now that I have explained it for beginners and how we can set up the filters, you can set up the styles and modules and do the same thing and download it. So if we go back to the filter overview and you click styles, there are different styles that you can choose, from custom sounds to, as an example, like World of Warcraft colors. You can check how the filter changes the colors based on the style that you are choosing. Whichever style suits you the best, you can choose that style, and then you can export it to PoE the same way how we did it in the beginning. My filters are usually done with World of Warcraft style, so they have the black background. easiest to see for me personally. You can choose whatever other style suits your needs, but for the sake of the video, I've used the normal style. Now you can do modules, but this is just like an extra stuff that for beginners you do not need. These modules help you to add modular changes that modify the filter's appearance, sound, and filtering. You can implement even more changes if you want like some special things. Like on my soundboard, I have the divine orb drop, so we can have that as anything else, or we can have like sad trumpets or whatever. When you drop, instead of a divine, when you drop an exalted, you can have that as a sound, or you can have horns, whatever you would like. That just goes into customization option, not needed for beginners, but a good thing to know that exists. Now the next thing, what we're going to go through customize options. Now, this is going to be very difficult for beginners, but there is a cheat sheet. So instead of clicking the customize option and checking every single step of the way, there's a simulate option here. And simulate basically means you are simulating if you're doing a map, if you're playing in a questing area, whatever you're doing, this simulates the zone. Let me show you how it works. You have zone level. You can do zone level 20. You can do zone level 40, zone level 70, which is base, and zone level, as an example, 83, which is a tier 16 map. When you press generate loot, it will generate the said loot. Now it will generate it with audio as well. You can choose audio. There we go, loot sounds, which is going to sometimes make it sound a little bit, so you can turn that off if you don't mind. But then how do we make this a little bit better? You can either import items straight from Path of Exile. As an example, you can open your inventory, you can hold Control, press C, copy an item, go here, paste item, and it's going to show you the direct item. You can do that on an individual item basis. You can do an item builder where you choose what kind of item you want, what kind of base, what you want to add, the rarity, and so on. I do not suggest, for beginners especially. Or you can go to config here, and then you can choose which currencies and which things you want to drop. You want dropped. You can select all. You can click done, and you can then generate the loot, and it's going to do a pool. Or you can just go disable all, enable just currency, click done, and it's going to generate just currency as an example. So you can do regular loot, valuable loot. Valuable loot is the loot that has lower chance of appearing. It just boosts the chances, and you can do that. Now, how do we adjust these? Let me just go back to enable all, and let's do some loot generation. And here as an example, you can see what is shown, what is not shown. So you can left click on an item and it will select it here. So when you left click on something, it will directly select it in the rule section, or you can right click, jump to rule, and it will go into customizer, into the said rule, where you can directly choose how it interacts with whatever stack amount, with whatever colors, and so on. So let's say we want to change scrolls of wisdom. We want to see here wisdom scrolls. We have 3 stack, 5 stack, 10 stack. Let's say we do not want 3 stack to drop. How do we disable it? There's a checkbox. Disable it with 3. But we want to see 5 and 10 stacks. So we want to see 5 stack and want to see it like this. Do you want to change how it looks? You can change it by using like the background, text, whatever other option that you want to do. You can select their size. You can select the quantity. You can add more, add less, at least, fewer, most, and so on. You can add a sound to it. You can add an icon, beam, and so on. So you can do that for any currency that you want. Let's go back to simulate. Let's make some valuable items. Let's see here, the greatest intention. That's a card. When it drops, you can simulate the sound by left clicking it, even though this is, as sounds go, closed. Because when you do this, It drops all the sounds at the same time. So we want, let's say this, the greatest intentions. You want it to be like the highest, the biggest one. You want it to have like the best colors, whatever, so you can see it when it happens. You want it to have a specialized sound. Maybe you want a different sound.
An orb of immense power.
Maybe you want that. Maybe you want a different sized icon, different shape icon. You can choose whatever you like, or a different beam in the world that shows like a little beam out from the item as well. That you can do as well. So these are what you can customize. Now, when do I suggest customizing? I suggest once you get to very strict or uber strict here, I suggest scrolling down here, seeing what is not shown, and then selecting jump to rule and go there. I would start on very strict or uber strict and then go, as an example, this doesn't show chromatic orbs. You want to show chromatic orbs. These are E tier. And what if you want to put them from E minus tier to E plus tier? E plus tier is shown, E minus tier is not shown. This is how you do it. You can either drag them or you can type them. And you can add them there. Do you want to move it from this tier to that tier? Yes. So you can do that too. You can customize it basically endlessly. As this is a beginner video, I won't show all the customizations, but on my streams or in the comment section, you can always ask me how to customize filters. I will show my filters at the end of the video. Now, you can do enable, disable, as I said before. You can do different things there, or you can do this. You can copy the appearance of the clipboard, and on the right side, it shows what it copied. Let's say we want to change it to yellow outline, white here, white text. So we copy that, and there's the style, and we want to apply that style to something else. Let's say we want to apply it to D tier. You click on the D tier. While you have this selected, it will have a green border around it, and you click paste. And it will apply directly the same settings as you have there. If you don't like it, reset it, and then you can copy this one and put it down there. You can do this with any option anywhere you would like. This also works for sounds. Of course, as you can see here, sound here, and when you reset, no sound and such. It works with anything there. Now, when we go back to overview, you can see what items are maybe selected that you do not want selected, but you do not want to go to a stricter level, as that restricts you more versus not. And then let's see, you do not want alterations, jump to rule, orb of alteration, move it to E tier, and that's basically how you fix that one. Because there are sometimes options where you do not want to go on a stricter filter, you just want to remove some certain things on a filter. That covers the basic explanation of the filters, how to set up and things. Now I will show you my own filter that I have done with some customized things. So as an example, you want to delete all filters here. I do, because I'm not going to use them. And I want to load this one. Chaos Recipe, item level 60 to 74 only. We'll load that filter. And that filter will show us that there's filter updates, of course, will show us when we simulate things, when we put it to zone level 65, we generate loot, it will show us items for Chaos Vendor Recipe, Chaos Orb Recipe. This is great for beginners if you're doing campaign, if you're doing white tier maps up to yellow tier maps up to tier 7. From tier 7, this filter is incorrect. That's why I said item level 60 to 74 only, as Chaos Orb Recipe requires you to get a full gear of items from item level 60 to 74. If you go 59 or 75, it changes the recipe. So it shows these items as the outlined, like with the red outline items, that you know these are the items for Chaos Orb Recipe. Do not identify them, put them in a stash tab, collect a full set, sell them to a vendor. Now I will show you how it shows in an item level, well, 83 map, 82, pardon, this is tier 15, 82 map. This is how it shows on the filter. When we go to Chaos Recipe filter, this is how it shows. Now, if you see some rare items on the ground when we press Alt, those rare items are not going to be shown as they are higher than that item. Some of these items will still show and will still seep through and look like this even at like 75, 76 zone, depending on like the items and such. So they will seep through, so be careful with that. That is for campaign users, new players basically, up to yellow maps. Then in yellow maps, because of the amount of loot that starts dropping, we are going to be using my Uber strict filter. Now, it's only Uber in the name. It is not that Uber strict, even though it is here. I have enabled some things back. As an example, I've enabled transmutations, augmentations. I've removed scrolls of wisdom and portal scrolls. You can enable these as much as you'd like. You can always load my filter in. You can enable them. That's completely fine. You can press Alt to find them too. That's completely okay. But to get scrolls of wisdoms and portal scrolls, you need to take the armor scraps and blacksmith whetstones and vendor them. You get orbs of scrolls of wisdom, and then you go to the town vendor and you buy portal scrolls for 3 scrolls of wisdom. So that's the easiest way. You do not need to loot these after you have 1,000 of them and such. Now, my filter, that's the Uber filter, looks like this. All of the items that are like grayed out like this with like black outline and black letters, those are the items that you generally want to pick, but they're very low value items. So those are in general what you want to pick. The other ones are put in a significant color or different color, so you know, okay, this is more valuable, I need to pick this. There are some that are for leveling, those I haven't touched, so you can use my filter for leveling, this stricter filter for leveling, but I wouldn't suggest it too much. Gold has its own gold color, of course, and there are unique items that are lower value but are very good as vendor just selling to get your orbs of alchemy, because they are always needed. So those items are going to be grayed out with an orange outline, so you know, okay, this is a lower value unique item. I can pick this up and I can safely vendor it. It doesn't have any value other than being vendored. There are items that are sometimes lucky that can drop like this, and there are some cards that are outright disabled, very, very cheap divination cards, and some very, very cheap gems, as an example. Now, the biggest thing is for maps. We have red maps, tier 14, 15, and 16 are with a sound. Tier 11, 12, 13 are without a sound, and anything lower is without a sound, but they all still appear. On some filters, you will see the higher strictness you go, the lower tier maps do not appear. However, I do keep them as they tend to be useful later on for bulk selling or just using to showcase and such. So that's good. When it comes to unique maps, they're all shown. So you can see what it goes here, what it doesn't have, and such. To show in the work how it is, this is Uber strict filter, regular filter, and this is my Uber strict filter with one version. Now, what does this show that Uber strict filter doesn't? Uber strict filter does not show veiled items as an example, but my filter does show them, as they are very useful for having recipes and such. This is why I wouldn't suggest going Uber strict for beginners more than like the stricter version, which is like very strict, because it still hides some things you do not want to be hidden, as those can help you unlock crafting recipes. But that will be it for the filters. There's only one little caveat left to mention. In any mechanic that you can click that has apply item filter, you can apply your current item filter on, and it will show /hide mask the items that you can do. But other than that, this is going to cover everything Filterblade related, and how to make your own filters and how the filters work and what you can do with them. And hopefully this will help beginners when they are making their own filters. But as I said in the beginning of the video, as a small recap, just download all strictnesses and adjust as you go until you get to very strict. And then I suggest learning how to customize, how to simulate, how to do these things, because there are some things that you do not want to see on the filter that is shown, but you want to see some things that are not shown on uber strict or even higher filter. But hopefully this was clear enough. Once again, thank you to Neversink and his crew for, I will link all of his socials, Twitch channel and things in the description below. A great member of the community that helps us a lot here, even though we sometimes get frustrated when he changes things, but it is all in the good faith. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Please do sub. Bye.